Okay, hello, and welcome back once again to the afternoon edition. As far as my taping, it's afternoon on Tuesday, April 23rd. Oh, just about 12:30, depending on which clock and accuracy, and so on and so forth. About 12:29 Eastern Standard Time. And welcome once again, Grandpa Bill, and welcome to the Grunts and Groans podcast. I'm talking in this podcast about what at the time of this taping will be my next blog talk radio show soon to follow this taping, revisiting the Tourmaline watershed program and Tourmaline as a whole and relationship with Seth Brzezinski as far as forming one on the business side of life. Talking about his upcoming appearance at my show on the Blog Talk radio show side of life, and revisiting some outtakes from some former archival Blog Talk radio shows as I do the next edition of the live one. Thanks for being patient with all this. It is like following the proverbial bouncing ball. It's just the way and nature of the beast. So I'll try to roadmap this for you as very best as I can. So I just recreated this podcast, this version of. I haven't actually done a podcast per se, other than a very recent note, like how many I've done so far. I don't even know that. I think it's 5. Previous to that, I have indeed done podcasts about, I don't know, 7 or so years ago, quite a while ago. But I did indeed do them. And as I've asked folks before, if your interest level goes to that degree to do so, I always suggest going to the Wayback Machine to find any information that's old, no longer prevalent on the web, they went out of business, what have you. Usually, if they ever had a presence, whoever they are, including myself, you can find out that information accordingly back in the time frame that they were still in existence or whatever. So my shows being podcast, if you will, at basically that time frame, I would investigate it that way if you choose to do so in your method of, verifying what's valid or real or whatever. That would be how I would do it. I don't know. It's how I have done it in my own searches and investigations of companies and so forth. So just something that's worked for me, passing that along. That would also document my blogs of that era, my Kennel Kelp website, which was singular back in the day. And through that lineage of time, it became 2 different Kennel Kelp websites. And it's now 3, being 2 different Kennel Kelp websites and my granddaughter Ada's dedicated animalproducts.com website. For those of you that have followed the show, do follow the show, have heard this before, do follow the archives, or however you have heard this before, if indeed you have, being redundant for you guys and gals, and you being a faction of the audience. In your case, if it's redundant, please bear with me for the behalf of whomever in the ubiquitous audience that may be listening in that has no degree of familiarity, and then wherever anybody falls on the radar screen, somewheres from not knowing to being an aficionado or whatever that range and scope may be, and wherever you personally fall on that scale, if you will. So thank you. I've extended several forms of invitations. I know of a couple that have indeed taken the opportunity to take the invitation to listen in to these shows, to look at all these links and listen to the clinicians and manufacturers and so on and so forth, to hopefully facilitate any decision making that they may be in a quagmire about, or they are contemplating possibly doing something or ruling it in or ruling it out or whatever analogy you guys choose to use, I always just try to reverse the table as best as I can. So the invitees that may have taken up that offer, if you are indeed here, whenever you get here to do so through the archival shows, probably certainly not as we speak at the taping of this, welcome, thank you. And the segmented CTFO invitees, if you're here to do so, part of this will be probably more relevant, of interest, or what have you to you guys and gals. So, like any video that's out there, as you all well know, you can advance it to your particular area of interest if indeed there is one, if indeed it's pertinent to yourself, and so on and so forth. Also, I have my Kennel Kelp audience through invitation. I know of a couple for sure because they've told me they do. I believe them. I believe them. So, whatever faction of that audience continues to listen in, thank you. Whatever faction of that audience that hasn't had the opportunity yet, if indeed you're now getting the opportunity, thank you. These are all just accessible videos like any of anything that you want to compare it to, your favorite movie, you're reading books online, you're doing investigations through Consumer Reports for toasters or whatever it is that you're doing. You're listening to an entertainment video, a stereo component song, excerpt from your cousin that's a public speaker in the local community, whatever it may be, videos of any nature. Obviously, you can advance them, you can delete them, you can get to the point, you can exclude the commercials, you can do whatever you like as you see fit to do so. So myself, not knowing where you are doing that, if you're doing it, how you're doing it, you might be doing it, you're partially doing it, please have an appreciation as a general audience, as you would if you were presenting whatever you might provide in your lives or what have you, asking for that appreciation from your audience to whatever degree you have one, being all the way from mom and pops to multi-successful businesses that have multiple locations and all of that, and every point in between, which obviously there are people that plug into whatever level of that variance from top to bottom, bottom to bottom, bottom to top, sideways, upside down, whatever terminology fits better for yourself. I think you understand my point there, with the only thing that I can do is use my terminology. So hopefully we're sort of understanding each other. My apologies if it doesn't. There needs not be anything written into that other than what I just said. It's part of what I've talked about, like in the old days when you could do these things for a number of different reasons, not necessarily all of them bad, or it was a different time. Just like the 40 years previous to that 40, and so on and so on, as we go back in time for whatever analogy of the Industrial Revolution or Tolstoy, or again, whatever your subject in research or relevant subject matter, topics of discussion, whatever reason that you're at any website or video that you may go to of your own free will to this juncture that I'm aware of, that you're still doing that freely. I honestly don't know. Again, going back to old days. I can't say, hey, meet me down to the corner store and we'll do this in person. I'll buy you a cup of coffee if it's for you. Hey, it's awesome. If it isn't, thanks for taking the time and the coffee's on me or whatever. I can't do that, obviously. And I can't do it if you're in Mississippi and I'm up here in Maine or whatever state or wherever you are. We all get that now. We all get that. Also, what I can't do, not a complaint, it's not anything, it's just the reality. I can't jump on a plane and just randomly go to point A to B to C to D. Now, again, I don't think I offended anybody with that statement because I put it in the first person. So, wherever you connect in that listening audience, that I haven't had the pleasure of shaking your hand, or I can't say, now do you understand, Timmy, Sally, Mary, Kathy, Pauline, whatever your name is, whatever your age is, bracket, denominations, race, creed, color, whatever. I don't have that opportunity unless we were doing FaceTime or whatever. So this is the way that I have to present it to the best of my capabilities. Like any of us out there that may be doing the same thing at a different level, with a different commodity, with a brick and mortar store, which I am not. Whatever you folks want to compare it to, whatever. Gasoline station, whatever, hardware store, again, multi-level businesses, whatever they may be for you in your individual lives. If you are indeed working, or if you're retired, or if you're 12 years old, I don't know that right at the moment. So, for the sake of the innocent, whoever that is, and wherever that world is, and so forth, again, with a ubiquitous audience, it's a broad-based statement, but a real one. Robots go through all of our websites. I don't think that's an agitating statement or an insightful riot thing, or I think those of you that do experience it every single day will connect to that. Maybe not beyond in products or whatever, but in the nature of having an affinity of trying to survive in businesses, especially we smaller proprietors, again, with no aspersions on anybody that is not. I'm talking about my sector, my brothers and sisters, people that are doing the same thing that I'm doing. No sacrificial lamb here, no prima donna here, no anything here except trying to convey what I think a lot of us are conjointly experiencing, feeling, living, watching. I'm trying to promise on my self-policing to not get insightful. It's not insightful. It's related to multiple things that I've talked about in my own body, in my own battle, with my own afflictions and so forth, as we obviously out there have them, whatever they may be in your life and or lives plural. So what I'm doing amongst the many is trying to find a way to continue to be vibrant, solvent in the business, so I can continue to do this which I've done for over a quarter of a century. However, you guys determine the validity of that or take the time to verify the validity of that, that's up to yourselves. In any event, I'm still here, I'm still alive, I'm still kicking, I'm still going on passion, and I'm going to do that. It's been my choice. Way before my business life, way before my adult life. I've had an affinity for pets since I was a kid, and I've had an affinity to try to help people as best as I'm capable of since I was a kid. So I go on conviction and passion first. And I've told you I keep profits secondary to myself. My choice. My circumstances, my outcomes, my life, my whatever. I take full ownership of that. I just ask that others do the same. Whatever ticks in your life and however you achieved whatever. But if you are aspiring, like some of you have told me you are, I I try to appreciate that you're telling me true feelings and that you are looking for potential opportunities. I've also told you because in some instances you know it for a fact and you know who you are and what that circumstance is. We experienced it together. Should we leave it at that? All this is, if you choose to do so, is listen to the clinicians that I'm taking painstaking attempts to get on here to document what I say because I am only the messenger. I am not a clinician, never claimed to be. I use all the standard disclaimers that, to me, I make myself experience nauseum by having to continually repeat them. So I'm not going to continually repeat them. We all should be edified as to what the standard disclaimer is on any package, commercial, to include your products of choice, whatever they may be, when you watch them on television. I mean, come on, guys and gals. Am I conveying false information when all of those separate products, whatever they may be, for whatever situation, am I conveying false information when the disclaimers are like an arm's length long while they're telling you what the supposed product is good for? Am I dreaming that? Am I making it up? Am I, conveying negative messages? I don't think so. Part of my disease that I'm trying to understand is every time I think the country gets weaker. It's already pretty weak in most consensuses. You understand? That's a joke, by the way. My warped sense of humor, whatever, with my crazy brain. I asked some of you that do come through here and whether you did or have availed the opportunity or whatever. It's there. Dr. Amen, not Amen. I did mispronounce it. I mispronounced lots of things. But it is indeed Amen. I say Amen at the end of my prayers. I don't know. It's Amen, I guess. Okay. The man's name is Amen. My apologies. But if you listen, besides the fact that I pronounced his name wrong, and please, thank you for bringing that to my attention, I guess. But if you did, I don't know, because you didn't continue with your suggestion on the name, whether you had listened beyond the name, so I don't know if you did. So if you did, I'm going to be redundant to you, and you know whom you are, and thank you for corresponding. Nobody learns anything and learns about feelings and vibes and attitudes and latitudes and all of that unless given the opportunity, and I'm very reciprocal to that. What I respectfully request is if it is perpetuated by just beating someone down or beating the product down or being negative, I would respectfully ask, please take that to other venues that there's multitudinous of out there. If it is just in and of itself to convey that, or send me an email like he did, and I'll try to be according to Hoyle on pronunciations or whatever. And again, thank you. So, through all of that, if you did listen to the rest of the tape, outtake on my show, which was a live video from Dr. Amen, which was really him, it's really his video, and it's really Dr. Amen, Dr. Amen. I'm pretty sure a segment of you guys out there and gals and whatever know who Dr. Amen is. If you don't, look it up. In my outtake of my blog talk radio show yesterday, within the last 13 minutes or so, to correlate with the length of Dr. Amen's tape there, one of the last things he said, amongst the many studies the man's done on the brain and all the books he's written and so on and so forth, one of the last things he said is through his research, it's been proven that a goldfish, I love goldfish, by the way. I've had goldfish, by the way. I'd probably have more if I didn't have two crazy cats that would eat them, by the way. He's saying this. Go watch it. Go read it. Goldfish have a 9% retention rate. The mean average of the populace of the world is what he's talking about, has an 8%. Attention span, 8%. We're losing to goldfish. No reflection on goldfish. Pardon me. So again, I'm going to have to continue to be redundant again because of whoever is here, however often you've been here, whatever segments heard it before, etc., just like any venue. I am a messenger only. I base just about everything I feel and say and do on these products that I have represented in some cases for over 20 years. In most cases have taken 90% of them as a person. My pets have taken a fair share of all of them. I don't know the exact percentile if we all want to be mathematicians and statisticians. I don't have it refined to that percentile, but they have tried them. They're trying some as we speak. The extension of my immediate family and beyond have tried some of the products as I'm trying to make them familiar with others. Those are both true statements. Whatever the percentile that they've tried them in, I don't have that for you. Certainly not to the degree of myself that I just retorted to you. So I go on lots of I'm my own testimonial to these products. Okay. I have long-standing relationships with the people that provide these products. In the business sense of the word, I've tried to outline that for all of you people. If you care to listen in to those shows, your choice, you will hear them speak to all of these subjects. You will hear Trina Felber do 3 verbal testimonials, accolades, commending the product, whatever adjective, again, works for you folks. Please listen to them if you choose to do so. She said it. I don't know what goes through your people's mind. She's certainly financially solvent enough that I didn't send her a check in the mail or whatever does go through some of your people's minds. I didn't prearrange it. I didn't set it up. We didn't say when I say A, you say B, or whatever you people think sometimes. But you need to make those determinations also. So if you get there by your choice, if you listen by your choice, I don't know, if you discern that it is really her by your choice, I guess that's the best I can do for you. Same premise with Michael King, when and if you decide to do so, etc., for everything I just said. It's the best I can do for you guys and gals and people and all these selective words without trying to offend anybody. You see how crazy it all is that we all have to pre-calculate what we think and say. I mean, really, is that where we are at, that we do have to do that? I find it frightening. Again, my opinion, my conception. I find it Orwellian. I find it very much synonymous with the book 1984, and guess what? I'll surprise everybody. I've read the book. Okay? It's a crazy world out there. Yep, I know a little something about George Orwell. Oh my God, probably you're all shocked at that. I have no idea. But it's my opinion, my conception, my perception, and I don't know. I would take note of some indicators that are certainly coming to fruition, not because I have said them in the past, as I, Bill Holt. Again, as the purveyor of the information that comes from the documented sources, articles, and so on. Well, if you pay attention, a lot of what I conveyed via those articles, sources, whatever, that's outside the bounds of my opinion as a reporter, messenger, conveyor, whatever. Well, a lot of those are starting to come to fruition if you do pay attention. And again, for the very last time, not because I said it. I'm just trying to recant, retort, redirect. Do your own independent research on any subject that's out there. I highly suggest that to everybody. I try to practice that myself. I am a consumer also. I sit on both sides of the proverbial table. All those crazy analogies, you guys pick them. But it's all true. I wear my many hats, get the joke. Get the joke. I wear my many hats in my sole proprietor capacity, all by choice, all of that. But I have to wear the many hats because I made that choice. So I'm my own, webmaster to whatever degree. Thank you very much. Because I've gotten a lot of positive comments too, by the way. Thank you. Thank you. But, I never claimed to be a professional webmaster. I certainly am not a professional broadcaster. I've said that many times. Not my forte. I'm not in this for any other reason, and no aspersions on those that do and do a show for a reason, and they're in it to get ratings because it's important. None of this is negative, folks. There's different reasons and why fors that we all do whatever our individual functions are. There's plenty of shows out there that are viable, real, honest. They have ratings for a reason. That's all good. That's all constructive. I never have said anything about that. I've told you that it's not my forte. I think that's a pretty honest assessment. I mean, I don't know. And hopefully, as I've said, I want it to be a harbinger of good information. Not a judgment contest if I'm pretty or I wrote a book or I've done none of the above and I'm neither of the two I just said. I'm pretty much a living testimonial for everything that I have said and that I am associated with and affiliated with. And as I get my next series of guests that will include Michael King again and Seth Buzansky for the first time, live, in the confines of May, as we both have it tentatively contingent on different degrees of matriculated schedules, no doubt, not equating myself with levels of people's schedules either, but mine's pretty matriculated. Mine's pretty matriculated too, to a different level, and all this stuff that you guys, some people are taking to wanting to go that way. So I tried to be metered in this, and I tried to be this and that and the other thing. I'm being respectful from the get-go. I don't know how that is perceived, but it is what I am being. So, like any show, website, or whatever, please do come in. Please pass it on. I appreciate all of it. The referrals, we're having a modicum of success already at Ada's website. I appreciate that. Like this Wednesday's like the 6th week anniversary, update, start date, whatever. I'm pleased as punch. I thank everybody for that. All I'm trying to reduce is if you're disinterested, you don't agree, or whatever, I respect that. But there's venues for you folks to go and espouse that and do that. And there's plenty of those areas. I don't begrudge that to anybody. I'm just saying it's not a choice of mine. And I prefer and will make sure that my show and website and what have you, as any owner of any business or anything would do, that if they want to put wire mesh on their windows or whatever, it's their prerogative as an owner. Well, until I don't have this anymore, or I get Gestapo, police hacked, or whatever, this is mine. To whatever degree, it's mine. So if it's not your cup of tea, it's not for you, it doesn't play well, it doesn't, why belabor yourself with ever coming here again? I don't mean that disrespectfully. You're doing both of us a favor. And I mean that in the most respectful way. Why would you waste your time? If indeed you feel as though you're wasting your time by coming here. Fair enough. I take a punch with the best of them, my friend. I've taken many in my life. As all of us have. That aren't of a certain privileged society. So that has its whys and wherefores too. There's many success stories of multimillionaires, including the CTFOs, that rolled their sleeves up and friggin' earned it. I'll be the first one to respect the people that achieve it that way. I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum if it was handed to you and you never worked a day in your life, whomever you may be. So if that's offensive to you, go someplace else. This is who I am trying to harness as an audience. So it doesn't have to get into a battle and all that crazy stuff. I've told you 5 times in this show alone. If you listened to my day show today on the radio, I have done my mission statement. I'm going to open every single one of my shows with my mission statement, just like every company website, including the guest of recent note on my show, open up their shows, their podcasts, their websites. Do you understand? With their mission statements. Why in the hell would I be any different? And why should I be? So, I'm going to continue to do these shows, and hopefully they're perceived as a harbinger of good information. Only you people can determine that. That's all I ask. Really, it's all I ask. But I do have to re-emphasize that everything I've ever offered comes with an unconditional guarantee. I don't know how I can do better than that. And I've certainly backed it over the years. That is also documented, my friends, if you do the research. In business, I've told you guys this, in business, my reputation is rock solid. Again, with my crazy sense of humor, Jimmy's Pool Hall, wherever that is, my joke. You may hear all kinds of stories about me. Lots of them might be true. That's Jimmy's Pool Hall. And good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise, that's in my past. That's also part of being real, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great day. Join me in my PM radio show if you care to do so. The welcome audience that's interested, thank you. We will all get there collectively if it's 1, 2, 5, or 7 million of us. Thank you.